Hi, Andrew here, and I'm sitting here being somewhat bemused, perhaps, by the way the human brain works. I am often bemused by the way the human brain works, but I'm particularly thinking today about what you may be hearing in the background. That is Bach, particularly the Goldberg Variations, more particularly Glenn Gould's recording of the Goldberg Variations, more particularly yet his second recording of the Goldberg Variations. Why is this? Why did this get me to thinking about the peculiarities or the way that the human brain functions? Well, I was driving from hither to yon, and I have Sirius satellite. And I listened to channel number 76, Symphony Hall, most of the time. I have been known to listen to classic vinyl or liquid metal or a couple other stations, but mostly I listen to Symphony Hall. I discovered that Sirius XM is really good. Is it $22 a month good? I don't know, but I don't have to make that decision until next year. When I bought this fool new recording studio of mine, they gave me 4 months of it for free. And when the introductory period expired, they emailed me to say special rate for new subscriber, $6 a month. And I was about to take the road trip I've spoken about to Quebec, and I didn't want to be futzing around trying to find stations. And a lot of the music on my phone is not my in-laws friendly. It's not old people friendly. I really don't think that they want to listen to deathcore or Swedish death metal or whatnot, because, that's some of the stuff that pops up at random. Anyway, there's a funny thing about the human brain right there. I'm listening to and loving every moment of this Baroque recording, or recording of Baroque music. At the same time, I might be listening to some of the nastiest heavy metal out there. Well, not at the same time. Anyway, so I've got this subscription for a year until they start, until they, triple the price, whereupon I go back to my phone or the radio. And the amazing thing about it is, for me, you get the whole piece. You don't get one movement of Beethoven's Fifth Symphony. You don't get the famous da-da-da-da, da-da-da. You get the whole thing. You don't just get the famous choral fugue from Ode to Joy. You get the whole 70 minutes of the piece. Well, as I was saying earlier, I was driving from hither to yon, and the Sirius comes on, and I'm driving along, and that's the Goldberg Variations, I thinks to myself. And then I realize, wait a minute, that's Glenn Gould playing the Goldberg Variations. And then I think to myself even further, that's the second recording. Again, he recorded it twice. I recognized it from the fact that I have listened to this exact recording many times. It turns out the reason that the Sirius has been pushing it is because there's a new release of it. They remastered the tapes from his early 80s recording session, and they put more than just the final release into it. They've got him chatting with his producers, the recording engineers, whatever. And so you get actual Glenn Gould discussing the music that he's recording and so on and so forth. And they played parts of it, and it's very, very enjoyable. And isn't that intriguing? I own a tremendous number of Glenn Gould's recordings. Most of the entire catalog that he recorded once upon a time. I own most of it. I tried to get it all. I don't know if I was successful. That's why I say most. But for me, his recordings have been the definitive recordings of the pieces that he recorded, particularly the Bach. And for many years, I would listen to it for relaxation, or I used it to help my kids go to sleep. And that helped the kids go to sleep is where I was going with this. Because the announcer, in talking about these recordings and this new session, he gave a little bit of background on the piece itself and Bach, and he wrote it for the harpsichord, and it was presumably to help him sleep. It was to help him relax and calm down. And the announcer himself, he said, but it's never been that way for me. It always gets me very excited. I really love this piece. It lifts me up. It doesn't calm me down. Oh, and that's in direct contrast to how I listened to it. I listened to it to slow me down. When I'm at work and I need to concentrate really, really heavily on something and I don't want distractions, I put on the sound canceling headphones and I put on something like this, because it allows me to calm myself down and focus very clearly. It's also very good for me and for my boys for falling asleep. Yet this announcer found it to be the complete opposite. And isn't that a curiosity? What gets you up brings me down. What brings me up, gets me up, brings you down. What sends me left sends you right. Isn't it fascinating? No real point to any of this, just something that I was noodling, because I have, over the course of the last week, had this particular recording pop up 4 different times. As I mentioned, they've really been pushing this new release. So, some food for thought. We know a great deal about the physical world. Physics is a fairly robust thing, and Newton did a pretty good job of describing the way the world works for us. Einstein and Bohr did a pretty good job of describing at least parts of how the universe, the macro universe and the micro universe work. Physics we got a decent handle on, but biology? Neurochemistry? Not really, not so much. And so it's a really interesting field of study, field of thought, field of discovery. Something I find fascinating. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. That was my time. Now is your time. And in the meantime, listen to Glenn Gould playing Bach. It really is worth your time. Take care, and you'll see me soon.